Hello and welcome to the Masters of the Forge, fellow Skylords. In this series we talk to members of the Skylords Reborn team about their duties, how they view the project, and what it's like to work on the game. If you want further details on the how and why of this series, check the article of the first episode on the forums. As every time, we will structure the stream in different parts, going over our guests' relation to BattleForge, their function in the team, their outlook on the project, and of course, pre-submitted and chat questions. My guests today are Emmaerzeh and Hodron, both from the map department and both long-standing community members. For the public, Emma is well known for many community maps, including the famous Battle Arena, while Hodron is best known for his work on rPvE, and especially the new enemy factions, which we can all enjoy now. So, welcome to the stream to you both. Oh, that's the wrong click. This one is the right one. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hi-ho.
Here we are.
Thank you for inviting us.
I'm not so sure how often you two guys or each of you appeared on a stream. I don't know what your experience is. Is this your first time or what's it like for you?
I did a few tutorial videos about the map editor and uploaded them to YouTube. I also made a series called Let's Play Community Maps, and
true.
I have. But I didn't do like interviews, but I did some Let's Plays and some tutorial of the editor.
And how about you, Hodron?
I'm more of a background guy. I'd say I haven't done any official streams or videos. I think I lurk and chat most of the time and answer some questions if people have specific ones I can answer, or like chat with some people on the Discord. But yeah, I mostly am a background guy.
Well, it's time we change that. Alrighty, we start with the real life context, and same as I did last time with two guests, I will ask the question every time first. I will start with Emma, and then Hodron adds to that, and then we switch roles for the next question. And we start very simple by in what country do you live, Emma? In the town, in the countryside, or where are you from?
Okay, I live in Germany, in South Germany, near the Lake of Constance, and it's a small town. And I'm working here. I'm full-time working, have a family. Yeah.
Isn't that part which is where Austria, Switzerland, and Germany is very close to each other?
Yeah, it's the three countries border place. Yeah.
Yes, it's called Dreiländereck. So yes, three country corner.
Yes, I can drive to your country, Austria, with the boat if I want.
Yeah. That's nice. What about you, Hodron? Where are you from?
I'm from the north of Germany. I live in Berlin. So yeah, I'm also from Germany, as Emma is.
The big city.
The capital. The big, bad capital.
I don't even know. Is Berlin the biggest city inside of Europe?
No, I don't think so.
It's not?
I think Paris is bigger.
I really don't know. And how old are you?
Yeah. I am 26 years old.
And you, Emma?
I'm 42. I'm one of the older BattleForge players, I guess.
Yeah, you still don't have the crown for the oldest one, but 40 plus are the old dudes.
Yes, I'm senior.
Senior map developer.
Yes.
And what's your field of occupation? Any of you?
Who goes first?
In the order, you are the next one, Emma.
Okay. Yeah. When I started, I was map making director, and I lately stepped a little bit back, and now I'm more or less doing only consulting and do map concepts. And yeah, lately I got a little bit more busy in private and have more duties private, so I stepped a little bit back. But before I was involved in everything, like hiring new map staff, hiring map testers, making plans. What are our goals for the greater view, and also decided who works on what, and but for now I stepped a little bit back and just work on my map that I'm still working on, that is in progress, but it's also a little bit delayed at the moment.
Funny enough that didn't answer the question at all, because we are in the real life context, but the answer was so good and interesting I didn't cut you off. It was more like, what's your field of occupation in your real life?
Okay. Yeah, I'm full-time working, and I'm working in the social field. Yeah.
Social field means what? What exactly? What part of the social fields? With old people, with young people?
No, I'm working with young people, like teacher or something. Yeah.
Okay. So now back to Hodron. What's your field of occupation?
I'm a software engineer, so I think I think we had some of those already on the stream.
Oh, software engineer for a bigger company, or for what do you program?
I'd say medium-sized company in Germany and the DACH region. I don't know actually what's called in English, like Germany, Austria, Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a backend engineer, like a server programmer.
Okay. Good. That concludes already the real life portion. And we start with Hodron now. We go into the general BattleForge stuff. When did you play first BattleForge? Was it back in the original BattleForge, or was it in Skylords Reborn?
So I started BattleForge when I don't know the year anymore, but it was once the game was free to play in the original days. So I think there was a time when the game was pay to play, and then they made it after a year or so, or after like 8 months, they made it free to play, and then I started playing, and I played pretty much until within a year of the game closing down.
Okay, and how about you, Emma?
Yeah, for me it's like exactly the same. I remember there was the PC print magazine in Germany, I don't know, PC Games or something, and they had the copy of BattleForge in it, but without any points. So yeah, it's like free to play. You could download the game, and you had the tutorial deck, but you had no booster, no card at all. You only have the tutorial deck. Yeah, and that's when I started to play.
Oh, funny enough, now that you say it, I remember that I was already playing BattleForge, and I remember when that came out.
Mm-hmm.
Good old memories. And how long did you play? Did you play until it came unavailable, like Hodron?
I played until the last day. Yeah.
What was it like for you when it became unavailable? What was that announcement that it's gonna shut down like?
That was dramatic. Yeah, I was angry and disappointed and everything. Like, I was a young person, and I spent my hard-earned money that I got from my parents on this game, and I thought I could enjoy my library of cards a little bit longer than it happened to be. Yeah. And I also remembered that at some point they write in their AGBs that they have to tell you like 3 months before that they shut the server down, and then they just made a patch that changed the RGB, and suddenly they said, we only have to tell you 1 month before, and then we can shut it down. And then it happened, yeah. And it was very sad, yeah.
And what was it like for you, Hodron?
It wasn't as hard rending for me as probably for some other people, because I distinctly remember not playing the game at the time when I received the email, but then I got curious about it again and like replayed the entire campaign. And I also remember that once the announcement was out, the like either every card was for free or the economy was like so messed up. Like you could pay like 10 euros and you got like most of the cards. So yeah, I remember like spending like a little bit more money on the game and enjoying it to the fullest for the last like month.
And when did you learn about Skylords Reborn? Maybe Hodron starts again.
Yeah, sure. Oh, I mean, I remember this like learning of this project like even years before there was a playable beta version. I distinctly remember the first stream we had when like the first beta keys were like given out to people. So yeah, I've been like following this project for like a long time.
And where did you learn about it?
Where? I can't even remember anymore. I think a friend of mine from the old BattleForge days sent me like a link to the forum.
Okay. How about you, Emma?
Yeah, I first followed that other project, that Legacy Reforge in Facebook, and I thought rather this project would make it, but it turned out differently, and the other project didn't make it anywhere. And I was when BattleForge was shut down, some people made a Skype group, a giant Skype group of BattleForge players that want to keep in touch or something. And I think in this Skype group, somebody mentioned Skylords Reborn, and then I was happy to hear about that. And yeah, since then I wanted to join the beta, but yeah, I could join when it was the open beta, not the closed beta. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I remember seeing that video where I don't know who it was running with a construct around in the forge. I think that was kind of a turning point where people were thinking this really can become something, and that legacy reforged thing wasn't making BattleForge work again, wasn't it? That like remaking the game from the start.
Yeah, they make their completely own models and completely own game, yeah, but based on the idea of BattleForge, yeah.
I guess that would have been too much work.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, about the game itself. What game mode do you like the most? Let's start with Emma now.
Game mode do you like the most? I pretty much enjoy playing casual rPvEs. Yeah, and I play a lot of rPv 9s, sometimes rPv 10s. And I also like to play community maps here and there.
And you, Hodron?
I'm actually a very chill campaign map kind of guy, so I like going into some random lobbies if they are open and playing a few rounds of like most campaign maps.
What's your go-to map when nothing is on, when you're on your own?
When I'm on my own, I think it's still. I think it's. It's a good question. I mean, I don't like really playing single campaign maps, so my go-to map is Bad Harvest. I even like play it on standard with like only a single other person or alone.
Okay. Bad Harvest is a pretty nice map. And what's your favorite faction, Hodron?
Faction, I'd have to say Shadow. I like Shadow.
You're one of the ominous shadow people inside the team.
Yes.
Alrighty. For you the same, Emma, or something else?
My favorite faction, I don't know. I play everything, but I like also some frosty touches. Yeah. And my favorite map, maybe Titans. I like Titans because all the 4 players have to have different tasks, and all the positions play differently from each other. You even need different decks for position 4 or position 1, 2, and position 3. Yeah, I like Titans.
I love
And
Titans.
I also like that you can make the factions on the map, the neutral factions, fight against each other.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's why I'm a big fan of Slave Master. I love Titans position 3 because I don't have to do anything. Will we see a change to that ever?
You can farm. What is it? Magma hurlers with night guards all day,
all night long.
I think that's a question for later, right?
Yeah, now we can do it now. Will we see a change to that? I think something was announced that probably not.
I mean, maybe. I'd say maybe, but in terms of changing campaign maps, our stance has been like preserve them as well as they are and only fix bugs. Like maybe we get something, but like that's for Windhunt, I guess, to decide if we get any changes to campaign maps.
Would it be interesting to make a 3-player map out of it?
Not really.
Not really. I'm all into unnecessary changes to.
The problem of the map is a completely different one. The problem of the map is that you can fly over the gates and kill the fire emitters.
I love those gates.
So you not need the player 3. Normally you need the player 3 to open the gates, but you can just fly over, and that's the problem of the map.
Yeah, true. And I have a special question prepared for you both, which doesn't come at the start normally. But the question is, what's your favorite community map and why? The one whoever comes up with an answer first can start.
Actually, I'd say my favorite. I don't like play that many community maps, but my favorite community maps, which honestly surprised me pretty nicely, was Spooky Encounters. I like that map.
Oh, Spooky Encounters was fun. True. You, Emma?
Let me check. Wait, give me a second.
Lebowin suggests Simple Land 7.
I not want to take my own maps. I like those tiers maps. City of Tiers, Army of Tiers.
Interesting. From whom is that?
Zero PC. He's a quite active guy. He made a few maps.
I mean, interestingly enough, I'm just checking out. So
of Tears, City of Tears, and Prison of Tears. All like the Lost Souls themed, and it's decent, completely decent to play.
Funny enough, the Fortress of Tears is a non-recommended map, but it still has 146 upvotes. That's a lot.
That's pretty new also. It's pretty new. It's from this year, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2023. Yeah. 2023.
Oh, that's interesting.
Shout out go to Zero PC.
Yeah.
Good job. Make more of this.
Get that guy.
Please apply at forum.
Also, the Prison of Tears received the update 23.
Yeah.
So he is actively working on that stuff.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
There are not a lot of active map makers, you have to say, but lately there are new people began, and also our team joined new map makers, and so now is kind of a phase where people start making maps. You can do it too.
Yeah, Dachi already posted to the contribute to the project. Maybe also a good hint is if you're interested in map making, maybe start with entering the Discord. There's a dedicated Discord for that. Also.
Yeah.
Alrighty, what did we agree to play? Who wants to present our great idea? Yes, we will
We'll
go.
start with Dwarven Stronghold.
We will start with the Dwarven Stronghold rework.
Shout out goes to Wanky
and
rework the map.
And me, I did the script, even though I'm not credited.
And Linzo DT is the original maker. And I think it was a really great idea to rework that map. Really shout out to Wanky for that.
I think it's one of the maps that took part in the map making contest by EA Phenomic back in the days. Yeah.
It's one of the originally quote-unquote featured maps.
Yeah.
Oh, one of the featured maps back then.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Like King's Ridge or I don't know what the
hell. King's Ridge is new, but Twisted Legends won the contest, for example.
I think King's Ridge would really need some final rework.
Oops.
I don't know if you guys.
I don't know. What does it need?
It is too hard.
It's too hard.
Yes, it is.
I just lately played it.
It is too hard for people who don't know the map that perfectly. I think it's a tad too hard. Not much, but it is a bit too hard.
On expert or on lower difficulties?
Of course, on expert.
Okay.
I'm not against hard maps, but it is somehow out of line compared to the other stuff.
Yeah, on the other hand, some people manage to defeat the map without even switching the defenses, so they have to defend. They all just attack fast enough, so you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So for some people, it's already too easy, so they break the idea of the map, kind of.
Maybe it's just because I'm a noob. Full-time noob. Emma, do you want Mark of the Keeper up there?
Since we are playing standard, I don't think so. Thank you.
Oh, did I select standard? I'm not sure now.
Or the advanced.
Yeah, you did. There would be way more enemies.
Okay.
On non-standard, like.
So let's start with the map making part. I was thinking Emma would start first. When did you start map making and why?
Okay, this is a little bit a bigger block for me. I wanted to say a little bit more about this. I started because I bought cards and I had a library, but I already played every map like 100 times and it feels boring. And nobody else was doing maps at that time, and so I just took it into my hands and thought, if I want to play new maps, then I have to make them by myself. And then I started to make my first map, and I looked it up in at some place, and Simple Land 1 I released in 2011. And Simple Land 8 I released in 2013. So in this 2 years I released at least 8 maps. But of course only in the Simple Land quality and effort. Yeah.
I maybe inject into this. Did you foresee that map making can take really, really, really long if you try to be too perfect on it, and that's why you chose to make simple lands?
It wasn't so important for me to do the last 10%. Yeah, for me, the most important thing is the gameplay, and I want to use my cards, and I want to have cool enemies, and that's enough for me. So if I don't need too much stuff. Yeah. Then I want to make a blog I named Back Then We Had Nothing. Because yeah, at that time I had no formal scripting education or something. I was just a regular guy that had no idea and want to play a game, but I had to do some scripts, and yeah, I used that Windows text editor, the standard text editor from Windows, like
The
very
notepad.
long time as my scripting program. And even when Skylords Reborn came, then I changed to a better text editor like Notepad++. Yeah. At that time, we only had the script reference, and that was also not very helpful if you not had previous knowledge of scripting. Games were, of course, crashing or the editor was crashing if you place a wrong object or do something wrong, because it's buggy. And at that time, the map making community was also not very active and also not very willing to help people out if they have questions. There was no network. Yeah, but I found somebody who gave me a few like basic scripts, and I just used them over and over. Yeah. And at that time also some IDs were public, like what IDs some units have, but many IDs had to be like reverse engineered. I remember there was someone who made a map with 100 switches on it, and the script gave every switch another ID, and then he would start the game, and then he could look up which button has which unit ability, something like.
You mean you go in there and you have 100 switches and you start to click them and see what happens?
Then you can click switch 1, and then you know, okay, ID 1 has no ability, ID 2 has the ability of Stormsinger. Okay, then I know, okay, ID 2 is the ability of Stormsinger. So then somebody had to write it down, yeah?
Oh Lord.
Yeah, and yeah, some other convenient things we have now were not there back in the days, like you couldn't upload the file to the server if you had a map, but everybody always needed to download the map from the forum. Yeah. And in BattleForge is also very special that it's very likely that something you plan is not working. Like if you are doing something, then I usually rather expect it not to work. That's the mentality of playing BattleForge. Yeah. There are objects that crash the editor. There's the legendary Nexus portal building that corrupted my map file bug. So one time I placed an object on one of my maps, and it completely corrupted my map file. And luckily, Kubik could somehow do magic and save my map file. But yeah.
So that gets you into the habit of saving very, very often with different file names, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing you learn very early, to save and then test it, and then do small changes all the time. Yeah. And we had to find out everything. Sometimes we just had luck that we had somebody who told us the solution. Yeah. And today it's a very convenient environment. Yeah, we have all the IDs due to the entity editor. We can look up every ID. We have script lists for all the different text editors. Script lists means you have a text editor like Notepad. On the right side, you have a list where you can just click on the command you want to write, and he will write the correct syntax for you. So if I type, for example, squad spawn, click, and then he will write the whole script for me. So that makes things a lot easier now.
So
And we
so
have
you
a-
know what goes where from the syntax without having to look up everything all the time.
Yeah, he will write all the commas for you and stuff. Yeah. And yeah, the community is active. So if you have a question, then just go to the community maps Discord and ask, and most likely somebody can answer your question and will help you. And that's a big thing. Yeah. That's
It's-
my big block of history of map making.
It sounds
now.
like it changed a lot.
Yeah. The whole mentality, like before, was like you have a question, you ask in the forum, but nobody will answer you. Maybe somebody know it and don't have time, or nobody knows it. But anyway, it's a little bit problematic to solve problems like this. Yeah.
It's like asking in a since you said you're related to schools, it's like asking in a school chat group who has the homework. Nobody answers.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So let's hear from Hodron. What made you go into map making?
I'd say there is not a real special reason. I always, for some reason, liked like twiddling and playing with the map creation tools of various games. So like it wasn't exclusively for Skylords. I even tried my hand actually at some maps for the old BattleForge, but as Emma said, it was a very tedious process, and I like wasn't really up to the task. I was pretty young also at the time, so I distinctly remembering making most maps without scripts because scripts were way beyond me back then. So
How young were you back then?
yeah, I couldn't have been like more than 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
So that was when I was learning. I remember learning programming at the same time. So I was very new to the whole concept and all.
Okay,
but yeah, for some
what was
reason
your
I enjoyed the process,
and what
and I still do.
what delivered you to explicitly the rPvE, which is the main thing you do right now?
I guess I like it because it has a very quick like feedback loop when designing. So you design some stuff, you change a unit, you change some numbers, and you more or less can give someone your files, and they can pretty easily check if it's balanced or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just lends itself to quick development. Quick in air quotes, I guess.
And what's also the since this is part of the core gaming experience, with small changes you can change a lot of things that's happening for the Skylords.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't know anything about rPvE development when I started, and someone just said, "Yeah, it would be a good idea to have someone working on this because for pretty minimal effort we can get a lot of lot of like play minutes.
Mm.
It's a very efficient way of developing new content. So I said, yeah, let's do it. And yeah, that's how Fire rPvE was made.
Mm-hmm. We will come to that in detail later.
Yeah, I can
So,
imagine.
If one wants to make a new map, what's the correct order to make a map? Do you start on paper first? Do you make a height map? Do you play spawners? What's the correct order to make a map?
Emma, do you want to start or?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure if there is a correct order. I didn't learn it like professionally, and I did it sometimes just like I did it. But yeah, I guess a good way to start is in general to start with paper and pen, and first making some thoughts. And yeah, you can go away with the height map, but you can also directly start in the editor. And yeah, it's also normally maybe good if you first have the story of the map, but we also made it work to fit a story into an existing map. It's also possible.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing about the story and the. I mean, you could have an idea for a nice story like Viridia is on her travels and she meets some wonderful people in an oasis, but that's not really how you play the game. So, isn't it also like
comes in?
yeah, isn't it also like that you should come up with some cool mechanic first, like I want to have two factions that fight against each other? That isn't really lore, is it?
No, that's gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also
maybe.
a way how I would approach making a map, more or less. I would more or less rather look at, there are cards that can support walls, but there are no maps that have walls where you need those cards to support the walls. So I make a map where you have a wall, and you need to support those wall, and you are at that current orb number that you have this card available, which helps you to support your wall.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So hold on, how would you go about if you would make a new map?
I would firstly also agree with Emma that there isn't really a right or wrong way to like create a map, but I definitely say there are some techniques I like learned. I like do game design for hobby, then and when I have time. And there's definitely like some things you should be aware of, and the thing you should be mostly aware of is you will very likely never get your like dream map on the first like try or even the 10th try, and you should work in a way that lends itself to like iterating over everything in a fast way. And for that I would say visuals, which some people really like, are like the very least important thing. So designing the mechanics and the structure, like the layout of the map, like are the two most important things, which after that you can already playtest. And when you can playtest, you can see if the map is fun or not. So yeah, that's what I would say is important.
Yeah, the gameplay mechanics or script mechanics have to work first before you start doing balancing or decoration or something, but all the mechanics have to work first.
I mean, you're both leading already into the next question, and the next question is what you think makes for a good map.
Maybe I can start because I must started last time. I think a great map is like a harmony of the different parts that go into a map. Like it should be balanced, balanced in a way that people have fun, like for their level of play, and can enjoy that difficulty. It should feature like some mechanic that isn't just I play my cards and I run through this map. It should also obviously be visually appealing and not look yeah, like I just slapped some textures and height maps in there for like 2 minutes. And if it is a multiplayer map, the BattleForge has this like aspect. Multiplayer maps almost always feature a mechanic that lets you interact with other players. So like use that. Let players interact with another.
Mm-hmm. You have something to add to that, Hodron? Emma, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I would also say that a good map has a high replayability, and the good map gives the player the opportunity to use some of his cards that he cannot use on other maps, and some kind of unique selling point is also desirable. Like the map has some kind of uniqueness to it. So you say, the map with where you bring the wagon to the somewhere else.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. I get it. I mean, I'm the guy that's into visually appealing, and I'm the guy into having cool. Your
forces are under attack.
A cool special experience on this map because the gameplay is special compared to other maps.
Yeah.
Is it really that important that lore and I mean, maybe I ask like this: is lore important at all?
Lore is not important in a sense that you almost never like come from a standpoint we have this scene in the story and we have to have a map for it. It almost always is the reverse. It's like we want to have this map. What part of the lore can we use to enhance this map?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see it for like a map like Bad Harvest. Bad Harvest is barely any lore.
Yeah, Bad Harvest is like there's a stone. There is a nasty Stonekin Lord appearing, and we have to kill him because he is nasty.
Yeah, the only like real thing you learn is that like the humans greedily stole the sun which they gave to the giants, which is also I think set in one of the lore books. So it's not even like uniquely new story.
True.
Some parts of the lore is also told only in the loading screen or only in the outcries. Yeah. So you not
That is true. That is true.
Not play all the lore. Yeah. But yeah, some people rate it very differently. I would say most of the people don't even know, like me, know the lore of BattleForge. And some people enjoy it very much to know all the lore and read the lore books. And yeah.
I mean, I can tell you something about the lore. Everyone is dead now at the end of the story.
Don't spoiler that.
Everyone you know is dead except Moon, I think. Moon lives, the rest is dead. So let's get into the tools. What tools are you guys now using for map making besides the editor?
Sorry, give me one second for the last question. But for new players or also for kids, it's important. Like I have a son and he enjoys mostly like Mo. It's his favorite unit because it's a unique unit that has a name that it's not only one juggernaut, it's Mo. Yeah, so to have some characters and story is important, but yeah.
But that's different to me than really lore. Because I remember I wasn't that young when I started to play BattleForge, but I just saw Mo and Mo was cool, and that's it. That's more than enough. Mo is just a cool dude.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the tools. Let's start with Emma now. What tools do you use besides the map maker, the editor?
I especially use the editor and Notepad++, a writing text editor tool where I can write my scripts in.
And that's it?
That's pretty much it. I use Dragon Unpacker to unpack pack files. And that's pretty much it for me. And everything else I get from other people, like art, load screen arts, or whatever other people have to do for me. So, yeah.
So naturally you're into collaboration because you don't want to do everything.
Yeah, exactly. I also cannot do everything and also not want to do everything. So I am dependent on people.
Emma, I think you have to take that guy into the center.
Which guy?
The one I pinked.
The fire enchant, huh?
Yeah, otherwise the map will go on forever.
Okay.
You have to escort the dude.
Okay, thank you.
How about you, Hodron? What do you use?
So of course I use the map editor. I also use Dragon Unpacker, very underrated software for like looking at the original BattleForge files. I use Visual Studio Code for programming the Lure scripts. Then I also use like a pseudo various internal like software like the quote-unquote legendary entity editor, which I'm sure you have heard about.
No, wait. It's the ultimate.
yeah, of course. It's the
it's the ultimate entity editor. Hannah said we have to get this right.
True. We also have a tool written by me for rPvE preset not generation, but like management. We have also a tool from Ladadus for making effects. So if I want a quick new effect or a variation of an old effect for a new NPC or something, I can just copy an existing effect, load it into the tool, and quickly change it up a bit.
Your forces are under attack.
Mm-hmm. So the rPvE stuff needs some extra tools, if I get it right.
I guess you could also like the raw file format is like XML, but it's so massive. The files are so massive, you don't really want to edit them by hand, and you also would have to know like the unit IDs by heart, like which is also not very good. So yeah, I made a tool to abstract that so you can manage them a bit more easily.
Now you have to hit that switch and then we are in the final phase.
Yeah, I think you need someone on the other side of the wall for that.
Yes, and it's totally stupid that there is no door in this wall.
What?
Yeah, but you can.
Okay, I have to mount the wall. Then
and then you can summon someone on the other side.
Wall.
Right.
Now it's...
Yeah. There's so much energy, actually.
Do you guys like to work with Lua, or would something be better? Something different be better as an scripting language for BattleForge?
So I only know Lua. I don't know anything else, so I cannot compare. But I heard that it's also kind of not Lua, but also only some BattleForge compatible Lua working. So BattleForge is special Lua.
Special Lua.
Yeah, I have to agree. you don't really need that much. Like Lure is fine for BattleForge because you don't really need Lure for much. Most of the stuff is written in like a proprietary,
Your forces are
which
under
I think we
attack.
call it BattleForge script. Like the whole like the whole cases and events and stuff. All that syntax is BattleForge script, which is proprietary and doesn't have to do anything with Lure per se.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it gets the job done. You could the programming language doesn't really matter.
As long as the scripting works as it should.
I mean, the BattleForge script is like easy to get into once you understand how it is intended to be used, but it gets messy because there is no inherent way to do some like stuff like branching or looping. It's just event based, so you have to like repeat copy paste code, or like you have massive script files. So if you don't start organized and split your stuff correctly and get it neatly written, you will lose like you will lose yourself in the code.
It's
Yeah,
also a big difference. What is your goal? Yeah, if you just want to do some normal stuff, then you can do a lot with basic knowledge. But for some advanced stuff, you suddenly need very advanced or expert knowledge, which doesn't sound much of a big difference. So if I want to make a spawn script, a normal spawn script that respawns the units once they are dead, that's very easy, super easy.
Mm-hmm.
But once you want the units continuously spawn every 30 seconds, even though the previous group is still alive, then it gets very, very complicated, and only few people can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing for some project which isn't revealed yet. I would have to do some for loops. And two loops that would be nested inside each other, and I think that was already at the limit what is possible with Lure.
Yeah, the thing is, most Lure stuff is just used to copy, like on map start in the loading screen, it continuously copies the stuff you have in that loop. Like if you have an event inside a Lure loop, it just copies the stuff like 10-20 times inside the script. So yeah, that's it's wild.
If somebody would want to make his or her first map, where would somebody be best to start to learn?
It's actually a good question. I think we don't have any up-to-date resources. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Emma. I think there are some old YouTube tutorials from the OG times. We have some articles on the forum, and I guess we have the Discord. So a mix of those three can get you pretty far. And after that, if you still want some the campaign mechanics, you can look at the original EA files, which is a bit more complicated, but if you are on the Discord, there are people that can help you out with that.
Mm-hmm. What would you suggest, Emma?
Yeah, exactly. There's some thread on the forum that also puts all the tutorials together. There are some written tutorials, there are some video tutorials, there's the Discord server. On the Discord server, we also have some kind of FAQ, frequently asked questions, and yeah. And we are still working on to make this map making more and more documented. Like just lately, Ultralord released a video about how to use the cutscene editor. Thank you, Ultralord, for the video.
Oh, did I notice that? I didn't even notice that.
No, it's awesome because before Hodron and Lebowin discovered the cutscene editor, how it works, and then other people found out how it works easier, and now it gets really like usable in a usable state for everyone since it's like documented. Yeah.
And what are some rookie mistakes that could be easily avoided if you're starting out? What are the beginner's mistake everyone makes? Maybe Emma starts with this one.
Yeah, not safe often. The map name is not allowed to have certain symbols or numbers in it. The starting point missing, the starting wells or the starting orb not set to the current player, and there's some stuff you can mess up, and if you do it, then you will not even find your map online. Yeah.
So you can't even try it out properly.
Yeah. Why do I not find my map? Or, for example, when I worked on Battle Arena, I searched the map, but I searched it in the normal community map section. But it's a PvP map. I have to search it in Sparing, and that also happens to a lot of people. The first time they make a PvP community map, that they search it up on the wrong place.
Oh, really? That's something that certainly didn't happen to me 3 times. all on Battle Arena. Every time I forgot where to look it up. How about you, Hodron? What do you think is some rookie mistakes everybody makes?
I mean, a rookie mistake, as I have previously alluded to. I think prioritizing the wrong stuff, like making a map and getting lost in detail, and designing this one area to look very pretty before even like playtesting it with someone else for the first time, and then realizing, oh no, I have to remake this one, or like getting discouraged from that, and then like abandoning the map and abandoning map making altogether.
Yeah, that reminds me of one rookie mistake that would be not making the map big enough. Because you can
That's also
resize it.
actually true. That is also a very, very often made rookie mistake. Always make the maps on the biggest size. Please, guys, please.
Yeah, because you can't make it bigger afterwards.
Correct.
Yeah. That's one I remembered.
Yeah, it's how BattleForge works. You cannot zone out the player from using spells or units from using their abilities. You have to work with distance. You can say you cannot shoot with auto attacks over this area to block this, but you cannot block a rifle cultist from using his ability over the wall. So
yeah, true.
If you want to avoid stuff like this, hashtag Guns of Lyr exploit, then you have to work with distance.
I mean, it's so beautifully made that you have this starting point and it'll circle all around and come back again, but then the rifle cultist comes and makes the shortcut.
You could solve this in many different ways. You could say you not only have to kill this one building, but you have to kill all the buildings in the area or whatever.
Yeah, true. But I think some speedrun tactics are beautiful as they are now. I mean, if it would be the same shooting over wall thing on every map, that would be boring. But on this map, I think I like it as it is.
Yeah. Yeah, the problem is you rarely can find an opportunity to play the map in a normal way. How it's meant to be, like escorting actually the engineers.
Yeah, but that's a design flaw. They made it not worth enough.
Of course, always blame the game and not blame the player.
Yeah, I think as long as it's not completely broken, there's nothing to fix there.
To be fair, I think the special thing with Guns of Lyr was that people optimized that strategy because it was a farming map before we fixed that. So that's why people like can't really play the map anymore in a normal way.
Yeah,
I mean,
and you
thankfully. Yeah, Emma?
you cannot tell the people they do something bad because it's a grind game and you have to grind so much. And yeah, you cannot say they do something bad if they want to grind efficiently and not want to waste like years of grinding. Yeah.
Funny enough, the game isn't a grind game anymore since being too fast on maps reduces your gold. So most important is the playtime anyway. I think that made some things easier for beginners. Nobody will come and say, "Oh my god, you noob, you destroyed the run," yada yada yada, because it doesn't matter much. Are there any efforts going on to make the map maker more accessible or easier to use, or is the map maker more or less set in stone because it came from EA? Don't know who wants to answer this one. I imagine it being a exe file and you can't change that much about it. But how is that like? Could you change a lot about the map maker?
There was some stuff changed to the map maker.
Yes.
For example, you can now make the brush bigger of texturing tool. Before you had only a brush of, I don't know, 50 size, and now you can make it bigger. And you can now access all the player cards in the editor and place them on your map. That was before not possible. And some of the player cards also had a wrong name in-game when you played it. It would say TNF, hashtag, a number, something. And that was fixed. And yeah.
Yeah, I think we reverse engineered a lot of stuff about the map editor, so I think we can change some stuff. I don't know how like reasonable it is to change some stuff. Cubic does Cubic and Hana, I think, make most of those changes. But yeah, we made some progress, but it is safe to say it hasn't been a focus because, in all honesty, the map editor is it's a solid. It's solid. I think it could be more stable, but I think apart from that, it's very solid.
And I would say there are some efforts going into making it more accessible by documenting stuff better. Like the video that Ultralord did for the cutscene editor, maybe we can make more editors like this for other stuff. How do I make goals? How do I make, I don't know. Yeah. That makes it much more accessible.
How hard would it be to implement my own unit? Let's say I want to make a cool map and it should have an XL-sized mauler in it, which would be awesome. How hard would it be to implement any of this?
I think that's a very binary question. If you are someone like me on the team with access to the entity editor, it is feasible, depending on like the complexity of your unit. And if you are not on the team or cannot like contribute any files except for the map, it's impossible. You cannot change it because the units itself have to be on the server side.
So I would go about it and make a really, really cool map. And then I would go to you and say, for my really, really cool map, you can playtest it already. It's awesome. I need a XL mauler. And you would make that happen?
In theory.
The thing, in theory, we have done something like that in the past for people. I think for Damo, we made like one building because he needed it. But I'd say it's also, yeah, we most of the time are way too busy to also do stuff for community map makers. So if you're a community map maker, you sadly have to put up with what's possible. And I think we have a like I made so many new PvE units, which also like have abilities and stuff. So there is a good chunk of stuff to use.
Mm-hmm.
And you can try and put up on the map making Discord, I guess, is probably the best place for that. You can try and see if someone does it for you, but I'd say be very conservative with your expectations.
Yeah, that's why I said I put in the work first, because if somebody says I have written a small concept on a piece of paper, and I did no work and it's not cool and nothing, then you would say, well, go in and put in some work first. But if somebody made something really, really cool and some piece to it would be really, really missing, then he would beg and cry, and eventually, if it is really cool, you would do it, right?
Yeah, if the map is cool enough, so we could also make it a featured map.
Yeah.
And if the effort is quite low, it's always effort.
Versus value.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if he really just wants a big mauler with some more stats. That's not really that much work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess, yeah.
But also
there are some problems with sizing, but let's not get into that.
Yeah, but also if you are... Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Also, if you are like in the team and you need a unit, you will also not get it. Like it has to be high. It has to be a high priority, and there has to be resources available and stuff.
Oh, that's a very good point. That you underlined. You would have to put in the work first too, and it's not like you get everything you want.
You have to look at from this like from this side. A PvE unit is mostly almost exactly the same as a player card. Yes, it doesn't have upgrades, but most of the other mechanics are exactly the same. So, and you see how many new cards we make. I mean, I guess they are more polished, not more polished, but more thought out for like player strategy and stuff. And some of the PvE units are just quote unquote dumb. They don't really need to do that much stuff, but you can see how many player cards we put out. So imagine doing a player card just because someone told you to.
I get it.
So yeah.
Alrighty. How Emma in part already answered this, so I'm starting with Emma again. So maybe he wants to add some small details. But my question is, do you still make your own maps? Because Emma already said he does. Or does all your energy go into Skylords Reborn project? Let's start with Emma first, because we already know some parts of this.
Like for like years, I would say everything just goes into Skylords Reborn projects. But just lately, I made a small fun map, just for fun, like a 1 or 2 hours project. But years before, I only made Skylords Reborn work and not
is
my own.
Is that map already released?
No.
No. All right. How about you, Hodron? How much work goes into where?
From me? No. I actually haven't done any like Skylords related like personal projects that are not for the project. Like I don't have time, because if I'm not doing stuff for the map department, because I because you already know, PvE units are similar to cards. I also do stuff for the card implementation department sometimes, like quality assurance or implementation and stuff. So my resources are always like fully booked.
The master is here.
And if you would want to make a map, a really, really good map, what do you estimate how much work goes into making one really good map from start to finish?
Really
It's
hard to say because you always plan like nothing gets in the way, but always something gets in the way. That's the big problem.
Like, an estimation I can say is I think the question was split into was specifically asking for community maps, because I think community maps are a bit lower effort than campaign maps, because you don't have any problems with voice acting, and your lore related stuff can be quite light or like non-existent. You can get away with that. And I think you can make a good map or like a decent or good map in 1 to 6 months, depending on how much time you have personally available for yourself.
And now you're speaking about a really, really good one, right?
I mean, look at Damo. Damo made some quite good maps, I'd say. I think he has 2 or 3 released maps, which were 100% made by him, and they took them each I think about 2 to 2.5 months, around that. It's hard to say. For hobby stuff, it's always hard to say how much time, because you always have different availabilities, but about.
Let's get it over with.
It
How do you
highly
see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Emma, please.
I would say it highly depends how it works out and how high are your expectations. When we started to make maps, when I started to make maps, some stuff we couldn't do. We couldn't do our own units. We couldn't do cutscene editor. We couldn't do voice acting. Yeah. And suddenly we could do voice acting, but that also means we now have to do more work to finish one map. So it has a good side and also a bad side, that you can do more now. But yeah. Yeah, it highly depends what do you expect. So like a simple land style map I can do in 1 weekend. But
This better be worth it.
Yeah, okay, but that's without the map art history, etc., and not making it really mega beautiful.
yeah,
Which doesn't mean simple lands are. I find concepts like the simple lands genius. That's something I already did with the contest, because I just called my contests crappy contests, and then I don't have to care about stuff.
And then they actually get decent maps, and
Yeah, and then it still develops somehow. But the idea was to not make things too perfect.
Hey, pretty bird.
And how much would be optical preset for terrain? Like
that's
in
actually a thing
rPvE?
we haven't. That's a thing we haven't actually done. I think we had some concepts on it, but they didn't look that great.
Keep your hands off my
So, oh my god.
Okay,
Where's my
somebody has
dosage?
void return.
I'm on it.
I have my own void return.
Yeah, that's great for you.
Yeah.
We have thingy. But
So
I'd imagine you could do it in depending on if you want to start from scratch, or if you want us to start with an existing one and just edit it slightly. You could probably do it in 2 weeks, to a month maybe. It should be possible. The textures in BattleForge aren't that complicated.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have
I guess
an
if you're
idea.
talking about changing all the I mean, for rPvE, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, like managing the prefabs and the lighting and all the stuff. But I guess only textures, it should be doable.
I mean, I have an idea for rPvE texture, if you're interested.
Sure, we can discuss that.
It would be a rPvE texture that makes the pathways look like you're in the forge. Would something like that be
I think-
possible?
With.
It would probably be possible depending on like how many textures we actually have available, because we are partly limited by some stuff that is already like given to us. But yeah, maybe that was possible. I always liked the idea of having a map that was like Forge-like.
You cannot hide.
Church of the Rifle.
So, and what,
Be careful.
all in all, if you want to make a map, no matter which map, what are the greatest time sinks? Where does the most time go into?
I generally say polishing, like balancing and visual polish take a lot of time.
So the final steps.
Yeah, the final, as I say, the 90-10 rule, like 90% of the work can be done pretty fast, and then the last 10% take you about as long as you did for the first 90%.
Let's get it over with.
Making stuff beautiful isn't that easy, and making stuff balanced also not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Finally.
You already, I think it was Emma that said, so let's start with Emma again, that we have some stewardship going on, to use Windhunter's words. But what are some changes to campaign maps you would like to make if you could decide all for yourself?
Whose turn? Should I?
Yeah, please.
Let's get
Yeah.
it over with.
I like in some maps that the options you have are meaningful and worth. So, and in some maps you have some stuff that you can do, but if you do it, it's not really worth. And maybe I would rebalance some things. Like in King of Giants, you can go left and then you get the Midwinter, but the Midwinter is just as strong as the normal tier 4 unit, so it's not really worth all that hustle. And in Insane God, you can bring this grove spirit to this temple, and then he changes and it's still useless. So it's just very tanky, but yeah, I would like if it's more meaningful if you already bring him to that place and make the effort, then it should be worth.
Yeah, like the Midwinter is a good point, because the Midwinter is also always late.
Yeah, it's also slow, yeah.
Yeah, it's slow, and then it's behind Rogan, and since the mission is to protect Rogan, what's it worth then?
Yeah.
Besides it being weak, it works better on Ascension. Those knobs that you turn, and then you get some flying ships too for the other maps, and those are pretty hardcore good. That can clear orbs for you. If it would work like that on impactful, that would be great.
To be honest, many of the official maps I don't think are very good planned. Like in Dwarven Riddle, it's a 2-player map, but one player always stays tier 1 and the other one clears the map. That's a little bit strange. Okay, what's the duty of the one player? He stays on the wall and stays tier 1 forever. So.
Yeah, it would be technically possible if you assign orbs to a player so another player can't capture it, right? But that would go okay.
Then it is kind of possible, but that has the downside of the orbs vanishing if the player is not on the map, I think. It also is principally against the BattleForge design.
I think so as well, yes.
Credo.
I think so as well, since it's cooperative, the player should decide who gets how many orbs.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting question, what would happen if it would be like that?
Yeah, but there comes the mechanic into the play that it's a farm game. And like, if you have to play like King of Giants 1,000 times to grind your gold or grind your upgrades and whatever, and there's the possibility to share the orbs and to make it faster, then the people will do it. So that's a little bit the problem.
Yeah, 100% true. But we skipped on Hodron if he wants to change something about the existing campaign maps.
I think most campaign maps like are borderline decent. Like I play most of them. I don't have a lot of maps. I would say I don't like to play them. I think I am not the only one when I say I don't really like the Nightmare Short maps because they tend to be very long and tedious. But most of the other campaign maps I think are okay. Oracle is also one I don't particularly enjoy. I think I don't like maps that have like endless waves for no reason. That is, there are maps where the endless waves are nice and they're goodly designed. But there are like atrocious maps which bombard you with units every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And also annoying units like Wind Hunters, which are like one of the most annoying units in the game.
Oh, we love our Wind Hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because especially if you focus on having like one big tier 3 unit, and this tier 3 unit just gets annoyed all the time. But I guess that's what Mumbo Jumbo is for, then at least they die faster. So, I will have 2 short questions and then we make a short break. Do you guys consider, like Wanky did, but Wanky did it in a big style, do you consider bug fixing some good community maps, even some old maps way back when, to make them more playable?
I did that. I did that often. I did it with King's Ridge, for example. I did it with Battle Arena. By the way, Battle Arena the original Battle Arena map was called Random Unit and was made by Caldra, and then was reworked by Fraggy and Legendary, and then I reworked the rework into Battle Arena 2020. Yeah. And yeah, I also reworked some other maps, like the Mortals and some other maps that are decent but had some very small bugs. So I made them just playable and less effort but playable. Yeah.
Maybe if you do stuff like that, you should post it on the forums, because they just a small note that the buggy map this and that now got a bug fix. Try it out again. That would be nice. How about you, Hodron? You are all into rPvE. Do you find time to bug fix some community stuff?
I mean, I did help Wanky with his rework of Dwarven Stronghold. I like rewrote some of the scripts for him. But I'd say we had this discussion, or we had this point, previously, in time versus effort, effort versus reward. And I think community maps are sadly still currently, even after our considerable effort to make it better, like the UI and rewards and stuff, it's still heavily underplayed, like PvP. So time spent doing community maps is not a lot of players notice that or get to play it. So it's not really on my priority list.
So, and the last question before the break, who decides on what community maps get featured?
I actually am not 100% sure who does that, but it's someone in the team. I guess it's either Mojora or Hana or
Wind Hunter.
Is it Wind Hunter?
Yeah. I suggested some maps, and the PvE task force was also asked, and map testers also tested the suggested maps, and then finally Wind Hunter decided.
Yeah. Okay.
Because technically every game master can do that.
Yeah, I heard that some game master did that by accident because they wanted to favorite. They wanted to favorite it and misunderstood. And somehow some maps then got featured. I heard.
That
It's
might
not
have
like
happened.
it's not like on the map tester channel somebody posted the screenshot and said who did that.
Yeah.
And thankfully I don't know who was it, and maybe we'll never find out.
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? We don't want to know. Okay, let's go into a short break. Well, usually I need. Last time I looked a bit on the clock, 7 minutes or so for making a quick coffee.
Yeah.
And then we get back into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we are back. Hodron is here. How about Emma?
I'm here.
Seems like Emma is still on his break. I was a little fast this time.
That's true, actually. You only took 5 minutes to make your coffee.
Yeah, it was a fast one. This. Let's give him some more seconds. Or we could just start with an rPvE related question. That's alright too. If it's alright with you?
Sure. Then we don't waste any time.
Yeah, there was an announcement that new rPvE enemies are on hold in favor of new campaign maps. And I personally imagine making a set of rPvE enemies is a lot of work. And I wanted to know how much work is that exactly?
So the time of making a full set of enemies for rPvE, which includes like units, buildings, and bosses, takes around 6 to 9 months. Like we're talking there, prototyping the units, implementing them, getting some new art from the artists. Like, the boss units, if we don't have a promo version of the card, we get a new texture. We now have the possibility to make new effects, which also expands our range of new abilities we can make. Then writing down the descriptions, translating the descriptions, balancing the units. That takes about 6 to 9 months, I'd say.
And how do you approach the balance on that? Because I imagine, like, if I have a nature preset and there's a Fathom Lord, I just start out with I'm putting a Tremor there. Now I have my Frost preset, so I'm. Do you do it like that? Do you eyeball it first and give it then to the testers, or how do you do that?
Yeah, definitely. I try to see which units are like equivalents between factions, but also try to play to a faction strength. If you for example, nature has the root mechanic, so I try to build the camp around a root mechanic, but try to stay in the equivalent zone. So I don't know, a specific bandit unit, like tier 3 unit, could be the equivalent of the Thornbark. But I know the Thornbark is probably stronger if it's inside a camp. So yeah, but mostly eyeballing to be in the limits of what already exists, and then seeing what the balance testers say. And I have to admit, most of the time the stuff I design is way harder than what is eventually released.
Mm-hmm. By the way, the new Earth Crystal is a banger.
It is?
Yeah. It makes the spike roots go brrr. It suddenly hits like a truck.
I am confused about that because it functionally doesn't anything different.
Wasn't it like the Earth Crystal did something different before, and then it was changed that it gives 2 support?
No. We just the root nexus before that also did the exact same thing. Maybe that is a psychological thing for you, but we changed it back, and I just replaced it with the Earth Crystal, so it wouldn't be as confusing. So now we have the root nexus also available for map makers, just as an extension building, because before we didn't have any extension building.
Oh, I get it.
Which just repeated the root network.
Maybe I'm really just imagining things, but for me, the Earth Crystal, yeah, the Earth Crystal really changed how hard those camps are. They are not too hard now, but for me, it did something.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Emma. We just switched into some rPvE questions, which are easy for Hodron to answer. So where were we? rPvE. Is there any chance that we could change the generation for the terrain in rPvE? Like you give it some different parameters and it would make a straight path or something like that, so we could do some crazy things with that?
technically we have like a lot of possibilities still there, which aren't really explored or like only explored very experimentally. But sure, yeah, that is technically possible. And looking in the future, we might get to see some of those stuff.
That almost sounds like you experimented already a little and it sounds promising.
Can't say anything on that.
Okay. I hit the nerve with that question. I see it.
Prophecy.
Yeah.
Like they say in Oracle.
Yeah. What do you think about the balance between the factions? Should it be revised more, or is it fine like it is right now?
I'd say we already did some stuff to close the gap between some factions, and I still think there's some stuff we can do and are like working in the background on when someone has time. So yeah, I'd say there are some factions that are still a bit too weak or still a bit too strong, so we can squish them more together. But all in all, I'd say there isn't like it's fine to have a bit of variance between the factions, and also the factions already play to different strengths. So depending on what deck you play, they might already be like different in difficulty for you.
Yeah, I am thinking that the differences we have right now are kind of fine as it is. Because
I think
kind of boring if
I think the faction that's still a bit limited is the bandits and the stonekin, because stonekin still doesn't have its own preset because they lack, like they still don't have enough units.
Mm-hmm.
And bandits borrows from stonekin because they don't really have any threatening late game units.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the factions I'd say still probably need the most revision, but yeah, it's fine at the moment.
But is it a goal to make them really about the same strength? Isn't it? I find it kind of nice that there are 2 or 3 factions that are harder and 2 or 3 that are easier. I don't know what your view on that is.
I don't think they will be like that much more difficult. Like don't take my word for that, because as it seems, difficulty is not my forte to judge. But I think it will be fine. Bandits still lack necessarily like CP and don't have that many HP soaks, so yeah.
I would want Emma to weigh in on that. What do you think about the rPvE balance?
Yeah, I think in general they should be kind of balanced, and especially bandits is a little bit underperforming, and I think with some small effort, changing 1 or 2 units, there could be great things achieved to make it more balanced. Yeah, but some fractions are more difficult in other phases. Like some factions are very strong have a strong tier 2, and the other faction has a very strong late game. So, yeah.
Also true.
Also, I like the random parts, because sometimes you get a bandit map and for some reason how everything lined up, sometimes so many units hit you like a truck. And people start to ask.
Also very not easy to judge, yeah. So like nature is really strong, but is it more strong than Lost Souls?
It all depends on the deck you're playing too, kinda.
And I think that is the beauty. I think it shouldn't depend on the faction, it should depend on the deck. If you have the right tools for the right job, it should be easier.
But that leads into a question to both of you. How do you guys view speedrunning? should, no matter if rPvE or a campaign map, should a map maker employ some anti-speedrunning measures?
I think he should consider it, yeah. And some speedrunning tactics are known but accepted, and some others are something that you actually try to prevent. So it's always an individual decision, I guess. But we also ask our testers to look out for some stuff. So.
But should you make sometimes a deliberate opening for speedrunning? Like I don't probably not.
Probably not. I think a map should be first and foremost designed for casual players, because casual players are the by far greatest player base.
Mm-hmm.
And if the map then also by chance is a good speedrun map, which I actually am not into Skylords speedrunning, so I don't actually know what makes a good map. I guess you want a low count of like cutscenes on the map for it to be enjoyable to speedrun. But other than that, I guess exploits. But exploits are oversized for me, which, yeah, if your map has an exploit like what's it called, Guns of Lyr, you should probably consider not having that deliberately in your map, and even fixing it if it's like discovered during map creation.
I'm thinking about stuff like placing 10,000 anti-air thingies around your tier 2, so to make sure, or tier 3, to make sure Shadow Phoenixes are not succeeding. You see that on some maps.
Yeah, I think there are always cards that trivialize certain, like for some factions there are always cards that trivialize certain stages of the game. I mean, Fire is by far the strongest tier 1 like faction when it comes to being the aggressor. Like Mine and Eruption are so broken in early play that you can't really design around that. If a player has fire, then he will not be as strong on tier 2, actually. So it's fine.
Yeah, that's also problematic. So if you make some kind of map that has a fast pace, speed, time limit, you have to kill something in time, and you make it so you can do it without mine, then it's trivial for users of mine. And if you do it that it's not trivial for mine users, then it's only with mine possible, and without mine not achievable.
Yeah,
that's the balancing act, I guess.
Yeah, that's really problematic, because what do you balance for?
Yeah,
you always try to aim for middle ground, so it's still possible without the like broken card, quote unquote. But yeah, that's why phases of the game are like important. That's why not everything is like symmetric. That's why the way difficulty scales in a lot of maps, or even rPvE, depending on the faction, isn't symmetric or like constant.
Alrighty, let's get into the part I wanted to ask Emma about, specifically the battle arena. Let's talk about the battle arena. It has progressed somewhat. You already mentioned that it got a rework and another rework and another rework. When will we see an official release of the battle arena?
Yeah. So it might happen that we soon see a kind of early access version of it, because it turned out to be very difficult to excessively test it, because you always need the 3 versus 3 version 6 people, And
monument is
if you
under
get
attack.
those 6 people together and make 5 runs, that's nice, but we need like 500 runs. And so, yeah, we might go for this policy that we just release it as a like open beta soon. Yeah.
PM.
Yes.
And will it get its own icon on the map sooner or later?
Yeah, I think so. If it gets released, then it will get its own icon, like community maps or like rPvE, and maybe it will be like in PvE, where you can then also choose between 2 versus 2 and 3 versus 3.
Mm-hmm. And what do you see as strengths and weaknesses of that mode?
The strength is the high replayability, the randomness. It's kind of a party game. If you have 6 people together, and you can have fun, and it's short and it's very fun, and you can beat, for example, Radical X in a PvP game.
Finally.
It might happen.
Finally.
And what do you see as weakness?
That you need 6 people
This better be
in the
worth
3
it.
versus 3 mode, and that's where it shines. The 2 versus 2 version is also cool, but it's more fun 3 versus 3. And
Something.
other than that, its weakness is also that it's random, so it's not skill
Not high.
who wins, but more or less it's greatly luck involved.
Hmm.
That's a big strength and a big weakness of the mode. So
What's your view, Hodron, on the arena?
I also think it's a very fun mode if you want a quick match for fun and don't really have any stakes. But the mode, due to its random nature, has problems if you really want to think about
better be
having it
worth it.
as a competitive mode with a ladder and elo and stuff, because I think people would get frustrated by that.
To be honest, I always viewed it as a fun and quick mode. So having a ladder for it or something like that never crossed my mind, to be honest. Which I don't mean as a diss to the map, but it's super mega fun if you just hop in and play. Now we're into PvP, and some of the PvP maps also got revised. Who did that work? Did that one of you, or did that somebody else? Who did those changes that were announced back then on the PvP maps?
yeah, the PvP task force did the design, and Lebovin did the execution. He changed the maps.
This better be
All
worth
right.
it.
And there
I still
was
got
also some iterations, like let's try this, open here, and then the PvP task force would test it again, and then okay, let's try open here too as well. And, yeah.
Any chances, since you both aren't the PvP expert, but I still want to ask, are there any chances that we ever see a fix to the legendary map Wazhai?
The last statement I have in mind. Sorry.
No,
The last statement I have in mind from Radical, I guess, was that it would take too much effort to fix this map. So there goes no more effort into this, but maybe it's at some point. But for now, it's not worked on.
And also the smaller changes on the campaign maps. Who did that? If you say Levo did the changes to the PvP maps, who did something like making the new path on Bad Harvest? Who did those work?
Also Lebo.
Okay.
Also Lebo. There was some meetings where we talked about some changes, and then finally, Windhunter just requested some changes and Lebovin executed them.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Their death is
Since-
part of my life.
Since Hodron was so positive about the changes to the generator, how about the PvP map generator? Can we do something about that?
Also possible. I actually don't know how much the ladder, like what's the split is, what the split is looking like. How much ladder is played on random versus how much is played on like set map. But we try to be conservative with changing the random generator. As you can imagine, if we changed something and suddenly ladder was like very different, yeah, it would be a disaster.
Excellent.
What? My tier 4 was destroyed.
Yeah. There was some small units nom-nomming on your orb for a long while, and we both didn't care.
Careful where you wander.
So yeah, it's possible if the PvP team like wants that. They just have to ask, and we'll see. We can experiment with some stuff if we can get a solution that suits their needs.
This better be worth it.
But as you said, I'm not really an expert on what on that stuff, so I could only test some stuff, or someone could test some stuff and see if it improves the current situation.
Keep your hands off my birds.
Do you guys think that there has been enough effort spent on in general on PvP? Since
Hard to say,
This better be worth it.
because some people might be inclined to say yes, because it's an underplayed mode, but I'd say it's probably also underplayed because
Something.
we didn't make it any better than the original.
I mean, it was balance-wise, it was made much better than the original.
Better be
I think so much is easy to say.
You cannot.
That might be true, but I still think for especially I think most people that play ladder play 1v1 because ladder 2v2 is like
Your hands off my
kinda meh.
Mm-hmm.
And also 2v2 is a very different experience from playing 1v1.
Problem with
Oh.
PvP is it's like getting worse and worse because you need a certain amount of players to make a healthy matchmaking.
Yeah.
And with PvE you will not have that problem. You can play a map with 4 players, but you cannot have a healthy PvP matchmaking and ladder system with only 500 players, if we would have 500 players, but we would need 10,000 players or something.
Yeah, what we don't need is more PvP pros. What we need is a truckload of bad to intermediate PvP players.
Players that are worse than me, to
Yeah.
be precise.
Yeah,
We
true.
need more players that are worse than Radical.
I mean, I worked my way up into having the gold rank for 1 second. And in general, on that level, of course, we need beginners as well. But on the intermediate level, it's really frustrating, and we would need loads of players. So I can play just normal matches and have a chance.
Even back then, back in the EA days, it was like the PvP experience was like, okay, I'm unranked. Now I make 5 matches versus people that instantly rage quit, or I get just auto wins, and then I get maybe 2 or 3 decent equal matches, and then I get Radical X.
Yeah.
That's quite funny. I think the player base problem is like the biggest one because that really impacts the quality of every game you have. Like how good the game can find an appropriate opponent for you. And I think the learning curve is also quite weird for PvP because I think you really only learn PvP by losing because the matches are very snowball heavy.
Yeah, true. You just have to misplace against a decent player. You just have to misplace one single eruption and you're done.
Yeah, it's sometimes you not even know what you did wrong. So if you in that matchmaking versus that faction, you not play that unit, you play the other unit. Don't you know that? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we need there's at the moment there's that IE contest going on. Maybe we should instead program artificial intelligence that's just an advisor. It's just an advisor that looks what you are playing and is telling you what you are doing wrong. That would be very helpful. And we make it like at the bottom right, like a small clippy, like on the Microsoft thing. I think that could work. Alrighty, we are in general. We just in general through the detailed question, and we make it into the general questions again.
Okay.
But there's one final question before we move into the generic section again, and it is, how many maps did each of you start but never finish?
I have the very general answer.
Yeah, just go ahead.
All of them.
No. I mean, how many did you really trash?
But then you find out something new. Like now, we just recently find out the cutscene editor, and now all the previous maps I did are not finished anymore.
Nah, that's not what I'm asking. It's like you started a project and then you said, nah, that's not working out, or I don't have time anymore, or whatever. It's not like making cutscenes for Simple Lands.
Yeah. Then in general, I finish what I start.
Okay.
I do some maybe test maps. I do many test maps for something that, of course, I don't finish, but maps that I start, I also finish them.
You can kill those already because I already killed the spawner.
Okay.
How about you, Hodron?
So for me, I would probably say like 90% because I kill them? I like to like just go into the map editor, or I liked, I'd say, because now I don't really do that anymore. But previously, I just liked going into the map editor and twiddle around, do for 1 or 2 days, try to make something, and then yeah, it probably I'll abandon it.
Okay.
Because yeah, I wasn't really invested in it all too much. So I think most maps I start aren't like in any state to release.
Okay. So now for the generic questions, which are, the game has developed somewhat. What do you think each of you is the best addition to Skylords Reborn so far? Let's start with Emma.
I will miss out on very important things, but for example, that you can open the chests now so easily. It's so great every time I open a chest. And that you can play out cards you not even own in the forge is also great. There are some really great changes, like general stuff.
So you're into usability.
Yeah.
That was a good answer. I mean, the game has become way more convenient, and that's really a nice thing. How about you, Hodron? What did you like the most so far?
I think the most I like our level of like accessibility in how nice it is for people to just play 1 or 2 daily matches and then like be able to get a decent card base like that way. I have to say it. I think the game really improved from its days from when EA made it, and also I really enjoy card reforging.
Yeah, the Reforge is great. I think the Reforge is one of the features where you could say it's interesting that it wasn't always there, because EA would have loads of interest of cards getting destroyed.
Definitely.
I think if Volker Wertig ever sees this, he might have thought, why didn't I come up with this?
He does know. You know that he does know about this project, yeah?
Yes, I think it was Maze who linked that, where he even was asked what he thinks about the game, but he didn't see it yet.
He said, yeah, he hasn't seen it yet. That's true.
Yeah, but he likes that it's still alive. So maybe one day we can ask him all these questions. And
that would be nice, yeah.
Since the game has changed, it isn't like you can like everything you change.
Cultist master.
What's something that you would have done differently?
Also a great question.
Let's start with Hodron this time.
Let me actually think for a moment, because
You may think as long as you like.
something I would definitely have changed, like done differently.
With their flesh. Shadow fury.
Or if Emma already has an answer?
I guess one thing I am not 100% certain how it could be improved, but I think that is still not perfect is boosters. I think there has to be a better way of having boosters, like how they are currently. I tend to dislike boosters with like enormous size, like the card pool.
Okay. So you think the splits between the factions is not enough? There should be more, like you could have a tier 4 booster or something like that?
There should be even, like there should be options for having smaller size booster.
Oh, get it. The return of the famous 1 BFB booster.
Oh, please not that. Everything but that.
How about you, Emma? What would you have done differently?
Ooh, I'm not sure. Maybe one or the other card that got released, maybe it's a little bit value, a little bit off value or something. I don't know. Nothing too bad. In general, I'm very happy with everything that happened.
Mm-hmm. And maybe you guys already know about the famous Dreamland question. With the state the team is in right now, let's imagine 3 people would join the Skylords Reborn team. In Dreamland, where you can wish whatever you want, what would be their skill set that would help the project the most?
I'd say 2 of those people should preferably be people who are willing to program, like actually change client and server code, or like our Rust proxies of those.
Okay, interesting. Two coders
and
who is
1
this?
artist.
2 coders, 1 artist. Okay. Oh, that heal came too late. That's too bad. But what do you think, Emma? Who is needed in the team the most?
Personally, I would like to have more balance implementers or card implementers. So if I request some unit for a map, then there are resources available so
A monument
the
is under
people
attack.
could make my custom ID wishes
A
come
monument
true.
is under attack.
Okay.
And that would
So
be one
one card implementer.
card implementer. Then one lure god, maybe some person that really can do the very deep expert lure
Forces are under
script
attack.
programming stuff, and maybe one marketing person.
Okay.
Going to be fun.
You're playing into my wishes because I'm a marketing freak.
You say three marketing, I know.
Yeah. That's just my opinion. And in not dreamland but realistic land, what would be the with the resources the team has right now, what would be the smartest next steps for the project?
Find me.
Let's start with Emma first now.
Excellent.
Okay. Smartest steps for the project, like in-game.
Be careful.
No, whatever you want. Doesn't have to be in-game.
Yeah. I still would say in-game it would be cool if there's some new replayable content, like new rPvE factions, defensive rPvE progress, or some other map content. Yeah.
What?
And in general, it would be just cool if we get another bunch of new players somehow.
Come,
Mm-hmm.
darlings.
So the map mutators, which many people already hyped about, is along that line.
Yeah, somehow. Yeah. Also the mentioned sealed deck mode. I don't know how Windhunter called it. It's the mode where you progress.
Take you under my wing.
So you get a certain amount of cards, play a map, then if you win that map, you get a booster or something. And you
Yeah.
can
It was. I think it was called the deck builder mode or something like
builder
that.
mode. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be absolutely awesome.
Be
Where you progress the rPvE ladder or something like that. And at the beginning you have less cards, but the mode isn't that hard, and after a while you have to beat rPvE 9 with just the cards you drew. Oh, really great.
Yeah, it's just a little bit difficult to realize that mode in multiplayer, because how do you do it if one player has the one progress and the other player has other progress?
Oh, true.
But in single player it would be realizable.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, to be honest, yet. But now that you mention it,
my bird.
well, maybe it's just a single player mode for starts. But very
Could
true.
be
It doesn't.
also be found a way to make it happen in multiplayer, but
To kill. Finally.
So what about you, Hodron? What do you think would be the next smartest steps for the project?
Hide.
Next, smartest step. Yeah, I think we're already going in the direction of our next smartest step. Realistically, like map mutators, anything that increases replayability to have players like not quit after like 3 months,
A monument
6
is
months,
under attack.
because like actually a lot of people just, it's not that we don't get a lot of new players, we actually do get some new players, but they actually also quit after a certain amount, because the game is not currently optimized to have great player retention rate,
Your forces are under
and
attack.
that is something we have to work on. And
Requests your attention.
in my opinion, something, if I could wish for it, I'd really love to have something that increases, that is something along the lines of an AI companion mode, where you can play multiplayer maps, but you don't have to have everything filled by human players.
Mm-hmm.
but also can have like an AI play spot like slot 3 or slot 4, and they do a decent job at it. You don't have to overly help them maybe, or maybe they do good on like advanced and standard, but need help on expert or something, because I think realistically 4-player maps are played less often for the reason that not everyone wants to play every map on 4-player expert.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an incentive to make it easier for people to play every map.
Mm-hmm.
Would be great.
Fine.
That sounds pretty smart too. And that are all things that are maybe with the AI we will have to see. I think that that PvP artificial intelligence is a interesting step. Definitely not in the wrong direction.
But campaign would also be nice.
Yeah, but I think programming a campaign one is even easier than a PvP one, right?
I'd say if like the best case would be like a general AI that can just play BattleForge and can understand what is your goal. Like not a map specific AI, but really a oh shit. An AI that can just play the game.
Mm-hmm.
That can also like play not every deck, but like that has 10 or 20 decks that it can play. So it's not like I play 10 times this 2-player map with this AI companion and it's always the same. It might even find new strategies with no human has ever found.
But if you want a general AI, wouldn't that also make some work on your end on the map department? Because you would have to make sure that the orbs and the wells are all named properly, so the AI can identify them as such, right?
I mean, the AI would have to be able to understand the game from a visual standpoint, right? Like how the OpenAI one understood how to play StarCraft. There is an AI that can play competitive StarCraft.
Okay.
On a like grandmaster level, so 5k elo or whatever that is, and that's like the top 1% or so of players.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's possible. The AI would need the input. I think the input would be more important for it, because emulating mouse is bad or like not efficient. But yeah, it's not like that's not my forte, I guess. I can just dream about some stuff, and but we have some people like very knowledgeable with AI on the team.
But that would do wonders, of course. So we are at the end of my list, and the very last question always is anything you guys want to talk about. Don't know who wants to start or who wants to talk at all, since we are already more than 2 hours in the stream again. But any special topic you guys want to lay into the stream?
No, not for me at least. Emma, for you?
Yeah. The thing is, back in the day when the game was pay to win, the difficulty of the maps were already balanced by the price of the card in real money. So this is something we have to also always remember, that now that you have all the cards, of course, everything is much easier than it was back in the day, or much cheaper. Yeah, because everybody runs around with decks that back in the day would have costed like several hundred euros. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. And also, the maps are, most of the maps are there since the first expansion, since the Twilight, but then more and more expansions got released with more and more, how do you call it?
Do you mean power creep?
Yeah, power creep. Yeah, exactly. And suddenly there are several L units available on tier 2. And so also the maps got easier and easier. And in the beginning, the game was brutally hard, super hard to play on expert. So you had to exploit the game to beat expert map. Yeah.
I mean, it's like when I'm doing something as simple as encounter with Twilights, with nature. I mean, if you have a Parasites one, Parasites one, that's a unit which would have, since it's an ultra rare and the ultra rare that is really, really a good one, that trivializes that part of the map, but that would have cost how much? 50 euros? 20 euros?
Parasite Swarm.
Yeah. The one that the one that switches over where you can steal the wild bloods.
Yeah.
You need
Not
that one.
Super expensive.
You need that one card and the map is solved.
Yeah. Not super expensive like Enlightenment, but still a valuable card, maybe. Yeah. I remember some of the prices back then. Yeah, I think Enlightenment costed like 25 mark.
Okay.
Yeah. And you needed it 4 times. So the concept of the pay to win of EA was, we not only want a little bit of your money, we want all.
Yeah, true.
In true EA fashion.
And also, there's one interesting thing is there's that achievement where you have to beat maps with the original edition only, with the Twilight edition, which is a bit like the old experience, but some of those units got fixed in the meantime, and you can use units you couldn't use back then.
Yeah. Also, another change that is very, very good is the whole knockback of S units, and then they get no damage anymore fix. That was also great.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Alrighty.
Yeah.
I think we have come to an end, did we?
Yeah. I
think we do.
Yeah, that was the 10th installation of this series. I hope you guys found it interesting. Special thanks to both of you for taking the time. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you as well.
Yeah, thank you as well. And yes, very much.
And we decided that Hodron has the honor of signing us out.
And as always, see you in the Forge, fellow Skylords.